Hello and welcome to another episode of MacStories Unwind. Today's episode is sponsored by Fello AI. I'm John Voorhees, and with me is Federico Fetici. Hey, Federico.
Hello, John. I'm sorry, but I have to make this joke. I am your fellow AI.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Oh, you're wearing a white T-shirt, and you are fading right into the background of your room. I'm going to tell you.
Of my curtain here. Okay.
Yeah, you're like a floating head on YouTube. Everybody, go to the YouTube channel right now and see Federico as a floating head.
So this is the T-shirt that has some random Japanese characters on them. I wore this T-shirt at the Apple event in London last year, May 2024, and I saw some Japanese members of the press looking at me, specifically looking at the back of my T-shirt because the back also has some characters. They were looking at my T-shirt and laughing at me. So I am convinced that whatever Italian designer took some random Japanese kanji and slapped them on a T-shirt, they make no sense. And so these Japanese journalists were looking at my T-shirt and be like, like this? Like, okay, maybe.
Probably says something like, we convinced this guy to buy this random Japanese character T-shirt or something like that.
Yeah. John, before we get, so we have a bit of a special topic today. Before we get to that, I have a very small and quick and pleasant unplugged thing for you. I fell in love with kombucha this week.
You did? Interesting.
Yes. Have you ever tried kombucha?
I maybe a little bit, but not really. Not really. I have not. It's fermented tea?
Yes. It's fermented tea. It's kind of fizzy, you know? So Sylvia discovered months ago this Italian grocery shopping website that has all these like exotic products and like organic products, kind of expensive, but for like really particular stuff, it's quite useful. And she found this like organic kombucha. She was like, hey, do you want to try it? And I was like, sure. Like I've heard it on TV shows and movies. I've heard of kombucha online. I am in love with kombucha. I am consuming this one bottle of kombucha that I've been keeping in my fridge. I have 5 days before it goes bad. I'm on day 2, and it's become already a bit of a tradition. Like right after lunch, right after my coffee, I drink a cold glass of kombucha. It's very pleasant. It's very nice. It's fizzy, and it tastes like tea and apple. An apple, like it's got this apple aftertaste. It's very nice. I gotta say, it's very nice.
You are a big kombucha boy now. That is good. That's great to hear. Maybe I should try it too. Let me drop a drink on you too, Federico. Something I just tried recently that I had never had before. It is hop-infused sparkling water. This is...
What is
hop? Hops are an ingredient in beer. So it's what gives beer its bitter flavor.
Okay.
And I have tried various things like some non-alcoholic beers and things in the past. And there are some that are pretty good. But this was very different, and it's made by Sierra Nevada Brewing. I think I forget the name of it. I'll drop it in the show notes so people can see. But it's made by Sierra Nevada Brewing, which is a very well-known national beer brand in the United States. But this is a sparkling water. It has 0 alcohol in it. It has 0 calories. It really is just like a seltzer, but with a hint of hop flavor in it. And if you like the flavor of hops, which I do, just regardless of whether it's part of beer or not. I've also had hop-infused tea before, black tea, which is quite good. But this is very refreshing. It was a great summertime drink, I think. So
nice.
Kind of like my my sparkling hop water. So be on the lookout for it.
We'll see about kombucha in terms of like, because we have our summery drinks. My favorite so far has been like totally homemade, but it's like you just get some cold water from the fridge, get a couple of ice cubes. Then you slice some cucumbers inside. Cucumbers, and we have a mint plant, like a fresh mint on the balcony. We have a potted mint plant. So you get a couple of leaves of fresh mint, and you slice them up in the drink. You mix it, some lemon juice, like fresh squeezed lemon, just a few drops. Very refreshing. Very refreshing.
That is good. We all right. I'm gonna have to come up with a second drink too, which is what we do sometimes. Plain seltzer water, a little bit of pomegranate juice, and a little bit of lime juice or limeade over crushed ice. It's basically a cocktail without any alcohol in it.
Nice.
It's quite good in the summertime. All right,
Nice.
Federico, that's enough. We must both be thirsty right now.
Yes.
Uh, let's get to our main pre-pick topic, which is I am doing an update for the site of my setup
Okay.
situation at my desk, and I wanted to just share what I've got because some of it I can show off, some of it I can't because I'm actually using it to record this show, and probably that's best to start there, which is I'm using the iPhone 16e, which I recently reviewed on the site. That is now my webcam. And I've been really happy with it. I think the quality of the video that I've been shooting for YouTube has improved markedly because of it. It is set up connected directly to my Mac, recording to my Mac using OBS. And continuity, just especially since it's connected via wire, makes it very easy. As soon as I open OBS, the camera activates and I start recording. It's very, very easy. And that phone happens to be sitting in the back end of an Elgato prompter, which is a
Hmm.
teleprompter. It's a screen that sits kind of perpendicular, or not perpendicular, parallel to the floor, to the desktop, but it has a mirror that reflects the screen at me with the camera behind it because it's a see-through mirror. It's like a one-way mirror essentially, which allows me to, if I can have a transcript scroll there and I can read it if I'm
Hmm.
doing some kind of script, which I haven't done a lot of, or like right now I literally have the Zoom window right in this teleprompter window because it acts as a second display to my Mac. That way I'm looking right at you as we
Hmm.
talk in Zoom, but I'm also looking into the camera at the same time, as opposed to what you see a lot of times where someone has the camera off to the side and zoom over to their left or something, and their heads going back
Yeah.
and forth or whatever. So anyway, I'm looking right into it. So those are those two big things. Uh, the other one is a story I wrote recently on MacStories. Is this crazy FlipGo Pro foldable portable
Yeah.
display, which is two 16-inch LCD panels hinged together that you unfold, put it on a magnetic stand, and can connect to any Mac or an iPad or even an iPhone if you want to. And I've been using that out sitting on my balcony pretty regularly with either my MacBook Pro or even the Mac Mini that I've got on loan from Apple, where I just hook that thing up, tuck it behind the screen, use a keyboard that I've got and a trackpad, and it's a fantastic way to quickly set things up. And it fits in a backpack. I can't say that I've been that guy and taken to the coffee shop yet and set up my gigantic, because once it's unfolded, it's like 21 and a half inches diagonal, which is a pretty good sized screen. I have not set that up at a coffee shop yet, but it is a kind of a nice portable around the house type of display. So there's that. That's being used regularly. There's also, here's something I can actually show off, Federico, which I
Okay.
have briefly shown off before, which is this. This
Oh
is
yeah.
I got to get the name right, the Tourbox Elite Plus. Now, there's a ton of buttons on this thing. One on the side I use to activate Scratchpad on my Mac so I can take a quick note. It's got all these buttons and dials. It's really designed primarily for editing audio and video. So there are a bunch of presets. And I find it really useful because like I can scroll the little wheel to zoom in and out of the timeline on Final Cut, for instance. But then if I press the scroll wheel, it automatically zooms to fit the screen. So it's very easy to kind of move around a timeline, whether it's an audio or a video timeline, and make your edits, which is made things a little easier and faster than using pinch and zoom on a
Hmm.
trackpad and keyboard shortcuts. So there's that. Um, what else? Let's see. Oh, I I followed your lead, Federico. I have upgraded to Wi-Fi 7.
Oh, nice. Okay. How
Yes.
so?
Well, I got the TP-Link Deco Wi-Fi system. It's the same one that you have,
Nice.
and I have three of them because I have a three-story place, and that has proven, as always, no matter what the kind of flavor of Wi-Fi I have, being living on three floors is problematic. It's
Hmm.
hard to get Wi-Fi coverage in that situation. I know you're on one floor, and that
Yeah.
that makes things a little easier because I'm contending not just with walls but also with floors, which are usually denser than walls. And
They better be, you know.
yeah, for sure. And my internet comes into the house through the garage and into a closet that is actually under a staircase, which is not ideal. So my main base router that connects to my fiber modem is under a set of hardwood stairs, tucked away in an area where it's not in the line of sight of anything or anyone, which means my Wi-Fi in my office is good, but not amazing. But fortunately, with the other mesh routers that I have on the second and third floors, they all connect pretty well. And with the MLO setup that you mentioned before, I can get like 1.2 gigabytes up and down in my living room. So if I'm on the couch, for instance, I get incredibly fast internet, but it drops off here and there on the other floors of the house, like in the bedrooms. The bedrooms, it's a little hard to get from one bedroom to the other with a really strong signal. But I have one of the routers in my bedroom, which is kind of nice for if I'm sitting in bed playing a game or something like that. That's about it for hardware, I guess. I do have my Game & Watch that I dug out for NPC recently. I got my Zelda Game & Watch, which I kind of prop up on my desk now and use as a clock every now and then and watch Link run around, battling enemies.
That's a really nice update. I was not expecting the Wi-Fi 7. Nice.
Yeah,
Nicely
yeah.
done.
Yeah, it was on deep discount. Not only was it on sale going into Amazon spring sale, but they had a special deal going where you got another $200 in Amazon credit for a limited time. So it was like 35% off plus another 20% in Amazon credit. So it ended up being over 50% off of the kind of the list price, which I felt like it was time to pull the trigger given that discount.
Nice. Well done.
This episode of MacStories Unwind is brought to you by Fello AI. Fello AI is an all-in-one AI chat client for the Mac. It includes all of the top models. It's got ChatGPT 4o, Claude, Gemini, Grok, Llama, Perplexity, all from a single macOS app. It's cost-effective too. Users can save over $100 compared to subscribing to multiple AI tools separately because Fello AI is just $10 a month. All that while still getting the top-tier models without limits. Plus, Fello AI is native. The app has been written from the ground up in Swift and literally feels like any other Mac native app. It includes powerful file analysis too. You can chat with up to 16 PDFs, documents, images, all at once to summarize reports, extract data, and analyze content. The app also supports real-time web search. That way, you've always got up-to-date, grounded information for your research. And it's packed with advanced features too. You can pin frequently used conversations, bookmark your favorite replies, do full-text search across all of your chats, and save your best prompts to the prompts library. On top of that, Fello AI is regularly updated with the newest, latest models, features, and improvements. And currently, they're working on an iOS and iPadOS app. Visit felloai.com. That's FELLOAI.com to learn more today. And use the link in the show notes to go right to the App Store and download Fello AI today. Our thanks to Fello AI for their support of the show.
All right, so in terms of picks, mine is pretty obvious and boring. I am just once again mentioning Severance Season 2.
I have not watched it. Do not spoil it.
It wrapped up last week with a very, let's say, interesting finale. I loved it, but it's been causing a lot of controversy online in the Severance fan base because of decisions that they made that I think personally, I loved it. I like, my first reaction was like, huh. But then I thought about it for 5 minutes and was like, they had to do it this way. And I appreciated the way that they did it because I think it obviously helps with the making of a season 3. And it also, let's just say that this season, they dug deeper into what it really means to have an innie and an outie and
Okay.
how can the same person be two people. I think the finale, but the entire season really wanted to highlight that point of Severance. And I think because of that, when you consider Severance season 2 from that perspective, I think the finale makes a lot of sense. And it is the most interesting aspect of Severance, like beyond Luman, the corporation behind it, beyond the details. Like Severance, in watching season 2, I had a moment when I thought, are they going the same way of Lost? Like, are they just piling mysteries upon mysteries upon mysteries that are going to be impossible to solve? And I appreciate that with the finale of season 2, they didn't go in that direction. They explained a whole bunch of things, but also they focused on this other aspect, the more psychological aspect of what does it really mean to have two personalities within you, which I think is really fascinating. And hopefully we won't have to wait like 3 years for another season, which
Yeah, I hope not.
doesn't sound like it's going to be the case because they are already shooting season 3, so it should be ready well before 3 years. So hopefully late next year, early 2027, but not in 2028. So that's the hope.
Yeah, that sounds good. I have not watched it mainly because I watched the first episode and realized how much of the original season I had forgotten. So I went back, and I'm also not a person who likes to go back and rewatch things. So I've been kind of slow at getting through season 1, and I hope to get to season 2 soon. But I just think I'll enjoy it more overall if I kind of revisit season
Yeah.
1 and not just do a recap video or something. So my pick this week is a documentary called Breaking the Bird, which is all about the history of Twitter. And this is a documentary series. It's 4 episodes that was done by CNN. And it's a little hard to find. I mean, I think it's easy if you have one of the live internet TV services like Hulu Live. And I assume it's probably on something like YouTube Live. I don't actually have either of those. I ended up buying it from Apple from the iTunes store because it was like, I don't know, it was like $10 for the season. And I thought this would be an interesting thing to watch. So I just purchased it outright. And I've watched the first couple of episodes and it's really well done. I think it was really instructive to go back to the early days of Twitter. Literally, they go back to the beginning and they have video of Ev Williams and Biz Stone and Jack Dorsey working at Odeo, which was going to do podcasting. So it tells the story of Odeo and how Odeo ended because Apple and Steve Jobs got up on stage and announced Apple Podcasts, which really kind of put them out of business. So it goes from that story to how was Twitter created through a hackathon internally at the company. And the whole story is the whole legacy. And you really realize early on how badly managed that company always was from kind of day one all the way through where it is today. And I just found it fascinating, I think, especially the early episodes, to remember and recall kind of what Twitter was like at the beginning, what it meant from like a cultural perspective, what it meant to have it come out right around the same time as the iPhone, and how those two things really, it was like the perfect mix of things for it to take off because you had now this new computer in your pocket and you weren't just doing it by SMS, which is how it got started. It was really, really interesting story. So, I haven't gotten up to the modern times. I haven't gotten up to the Elon Musk era yet. I find the older stories really compelling and interesting. I plan to watch the whole thing, but it was really fun to go back and revisit those old stories because, at this point, it's been a long time since that. It's been more than 15 years. So my memory of those days was a little fuzzy, and it was fun to kind of revisit them. Finally, Federico, before we go, I do want to mention a deal that I saw, and this one is for Furiosa, which is a movie that I recommended here many months back. It is at its lowest price ever from Apple for $4.99. Really good movie. There's also a bundle with Mad Max Fury Road for $9.98 if you want to get both of them. Furiosa didn't do great at the box office. I think there were a lot of things working against it, but it was really one of the better movies of last year. So if you haven't seen it, for basically the price of renting a movie on an Apple TV, you can now own it. And I think it's one that is worth rewatching. So I think that's a good one to pick up for your collection.
All right.
All right, Federico.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for another episode. We got drinks, we've got tech gear, we've got movies, we've got documentaries, we've got TV shows, we've got a little bit of everything. I want to thank our sponsor again, Fello AI. Not you, Federico.
Okay.
The company, Fello AI.
Thank you, Fello AI. Yes.
We will be back in another week with another episode of MacStories Unwind. In the meantime, you can find me and Federico over at MacStories.net and on Club MacStories. Federico and I are on social media. Just look for @Viticci, that's VITICCI, and @John Voorhees, JOHNVOORHEES. Talk to you next week, Federico.
Ciao, John.